Yeah, the 55 pages, yeah, that's not.
Three. 5 in color?
Yeah.
All right, you can go ahead and call to order. This local school board meeting with board of directors for September 9th. 2024. We'll start with I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mind reading the mission statement?
Sure. Our mission: graduate all students with high levels of academic and personal achievement, ready for post-secondary excellence, prepare for productive and passionate citizenship through research-based instruction and a collaborative system of support.
Thank you. Any changes or additions to the agenda? Introductions of our audience.
Lori Monty, parent to an 8th grader and a 1st grader.
Welcome.
Ava was 8th grader.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having us.
Public forum. Individuals who are on site during this portion of the board meeting, members of the public are specifically invited to present items of commendation and or concerns. At the discretion of the board chair, further public participation may be allowed at the time specific agenda items are under consideration by the board. District policy DDDH. For those viewing online, the school district posts the upcoming agenda on our website, pleasanthill.k12.or.us. The Friday before regularly scheduled Monday school board meetings. This will allow for public comment prior to the board meeting. Please click on the tab provided to share your comments for the school board to consider at the upcoming meeting. Personnel matters may not be discussed in public at a school board meeting. Members of the public who have personnel concerns or commendations should share them directly with the district superintendent, Mr. Chris. Do you have any public comment tonight?
I do have a question. When was it decided that no backpacks are going to be allowed at the middle school, and why was that not told publicly to the parents?
Not aware of such policy.
We weren't either until the first day of school.
So the discussion took place with staff during in-service week. And then in terms of when it was, what was the second question?
Why was it not conveyed to parents?
That's a good question. I don't.
I mean, we ask for
I don't
open
think-
communication all the time. And we want to support our children the best way that we can, and if we have questions or we want to have discussion, how are we supposed to bring that to the admin before something like this, if we don't even know about it?
Totally, my best guess would have been in course syllabi, the teachers would have communicated directly with families.
They don't get their syllabuses until the first day of school, and it's not.
Thank you for that feedback.
Mhm.
Um. Caleb, maybe, when it comes time to do the middle school report, I know it's kind of putting you on the spot, you could maybe shed a little more light into that decision, or if not, just send the communication to the board after.
And will that be related to parents as to why they have to do the claim?
I think that's totally.
And one thing, I don't think there's a no, they didn't ban backpacks from the middle school. The kids still bring their stuff to school. They're just encouraging kids to use their lockers. There's not 28, 29 backpacks on the floor of the classroom. What they're doing is every kid has a locker and they're asking that the middle school kids, when they come to school, you know, since the cows are in the computers are in the classroom, that they just ask that you have what you need out of your backpack and then keep and store your backpacks in the locker, not in the classroom on the floor.
Yeah. The thing of it is, that's not what was conveyed to her. What was conveyed was your backpack's not allowed in the classroom to stay. You have to go between each period in order to put your backpack away, grab your stuff to go in there. So again, it just wasn't, there was no information. It was just what was told, what was coming back home saying no backpacks. And I understand that they can't take them to school, but as far as into the individual classrooms.
Right, that's where we have landed, is just no backpack in the classroom.
Yeah.
It is where-
And the other thing that brings to light is the computers. That really wasn't brought to our attention that there was gonna be computers in the classroom until we started at the end of the year. So people that don't have computers at home or don't have access to Google, how are we supposed to now start scrambling to try to find that access when school has started and they're supposed to be in academics already? Just frustrating, the lack of communication, especially going from the elementary school who has great communication, you never had to worry about anything, you could always go to the principal and she was very forward and honest, there was communication every single day, and then going to the middle school, this is, again, she's an 8th grader. I thought that was going to change when the administration changed, and I have not seen that change. It's really frustrating when we're supposed to be responsible for our children as well as the administration. It's just kind of sad, to be honest with you.
I think what sounds like the best way to proceed is just for admin to follow up on this and maybe just give an update to the board in the next several days. And also you're more than welcome to contact them and follow up with any other feedback or to get some additional information in regards to the decision about backpacks, the decision about laptops going home or not going home, how the students who are in middle school are supposed to navigate schoolwork with Chromebooks sitting at the school and not going home.
I will say that I would hope that communication is brought to all parents, that I don't have to reach out again to ask for that.
Thank you again.
Welcome. Thank you for your time.
We'll move on to action items. 5.1 consent agenda. I'll hear motions to approve the consent agenda in its entirety.
We have one item around 5.3, which is the EL legislature report. That's kind of an odd report, but it is required from the state that we provide this report. It's a state report. So we should have a lot to do. It's one of the check boxes from the.
Move to approve 5.1 consent agenda in its entirety.
Yes, sir.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
I'm abstaining, I was at the board charge meeting. Well, back to. Was meeting minutes, the other meeting minutes.
Right, make them. Passes with 4 votes and 1 abstaining. 5.2, accept turf replacement track resurfacing proposals.
So what you have in front of you is two separate proposals. One for the turf and one for the track. So currently turf and track are both 12 years old, will be 13 after this particular school year. Typical lifespan is about 8 years. Turf has got a number of areas where it's coming unraveled. A few areas of the turf actually will come up. So like a little circle area for like a family cake is one of those places, and there's some divots and holes throughout the turf area. Track, overall, the underlayment surface is actually in decent shape. There's a couple of areas where it's cracking, and that's usually where they have the paved surfaces will come up against one another and it'll start to crack. A couple of areas with the curbing down the straight stretch on the north end is coming apart. And basically the concrete is starting to crumble and come apart. The other piece with these is these are also part of a state negotiated plan as well. And so the RFP process, we don't have to go through to sort of negotiate in the state. As you know, we currently have 500,000 in the reserve account for the replacement costs. And we've started a fundraiser with a goal of raising 200,000. Project estimated cost between the two is somewhere between 700,000 and 800,000 on that. If you went through the proposals, has to do with how much work may have to be done as far as replacing curbing. There will be narrow board, which is the board around the edge of the actually now the edge of the turf too. So that needs to be replaced, and the costs go up. And then there's also some of the niceties of having like a colored track or even colored lanes. Plan is to keep same surfaces we have on there right now. And save some money. This is good work. So if we plan the track ourselves, about a $15,000 savings. So we'll look towards doing that. And then they will be able to spray the next coating just over the top of this coating. Here's your take the coating off and then line it. The turf plan right now is to keep the lines the same. Billy logo in the middle is the $11,000 logo. Each letter in the end zone is $1,100 on that as well. So that's just to keep it exactly as it is. So we've got those two proposals. Stop there and see if there's some questions about proposals. I can answer them in detail.
The purchasing program, like this cooperative thing, is that something that we have to do, or can we have to use this company, or we can't?
We can use this company, yes. Yeah. It's just it's a state negotiated pricing contract. Saves.
Saves
time.
And then on the track, I think you gave several different levels. Are we doing the entry level continues?
Yes, yeah. Yeah, cost goes up quite significantly as you get into the difference. So what's on it right now is a permeable lead top. That's the plan to stay with that. The next one up goes into an impermeable, so the water doesn't actually go through it, straight off the top. And that's when we get over $1,000 just for the track. Well, questions. Plan is, if you guys approve these proposals, the idea is there'll still be some district costs as we get around to this next budget year. We've got to get it on the calendar for when it starts. plan is to start the Monday after graduation with the project. It should be finished first part of August into July. Just we're on their schedule, so that we're ready to go, otherwise we'd be another year. 14 years old.
All right. No questions, I'll hear motions.
For replacement and drafting services proposal.
Second. Moved and seconded, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. 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 Yes, those opposed. Those opposed. Aye. All right. Motion passes 4-1. Five point three, financial report fourth quarter.
And this is a pretty rough estimate of our end of year because the audit hasn't happened in all the transactions. Sometimes there's transactions that get looked back into the year, but this is where we currently stand. We over collected on our current year tax collection, it's higher than estimated. The prior year tax collection was a little under what was estimated. We have received $8,500,000 from the state school fund. They also took back $267,000 from the previous year adjustment. But the net amount is $39,000 over budget. The small high school grant was up some, and the high cost stability was up some. Those are both really hard to predict. The small high school grant is based specifically on our ADM in 9th through 12th grade, and then it is a fund that is split among other schools in the state, so we never really know how much we're gonna get. So on both of those, we've got more than budgeted. Interest on investments, $600,000. And our final salary expense was $5,500,000. Benefits $3,300,000. And the other objects was under by $32,000. We have made 1.02 million in transfers. We did not make a $30,000 transfer into food services. Because it was not needed during this last year. So our expenses total $11,883,000. Our audit is scheduled to take place Tuesday, November.
Okay, there's no questions, I'll hear motions.
Someone looking through the 5.3 financial report from the quarter.
Been moved and seconded, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. 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 That's unanimous. 6.0 board discussion, 6.1 board goal development. New board policy, EFA investment funds.
So what I did from our last meeting is took the information that you guys had provided or come up with as far as ideas around goals. You'll see that on the board goal development worksheet under the relevant data. So they were 6 of them total assessment data, endowment development, increased visibility and presence at school community events. Increased presence with Pleasant Hill Education Foundation, Booster Club and PTO, follow up with students from the equity work session. And then conduct a culture climate survey. Some other items that may contribute to the projects already in place. Was utilization of a high school student leadership or affinity groups and develop more listening sessions with the high school groups. Or combined with the work of the district equity advisory committee. And again, we're starting to put that equity committee together right now. Will not be though fully together until end of the school year, the onboarding over summer, and the community will start next fall. Keep the district-wide calendar and add a review of that calendar during board communications section of the board agendas. So awareness at the front of everything we're doing each month. And the formation of the district equity advisory committee, so connect culture and climate survey with this advisory committee. The question around the endowment, that's why I included the board policy as far as investment of funds. There were three principles that guide the portfolio manager in implementation of this policy. So one is primary objective of the investment activities, is the preservation of capital and the protection of investment principle. Invest in public funds, in addition to not assuming reasonable investment risk to obtain investment income. In all investment activities, portfolio manager will follow the prudent investor rule, overstates investment shall be made with judgment and care under circumstances. Then prevailing, which persons have prudence, discretion, and intelligence exercise in the management of their own affairs, not for speculation, but for investment. Considering the probable safety of their capital as well as the probable income to be derived. Number two, adequate liquidity to meet daily fund needs for payment of district operating requirements, which might be reasonably anticipated will be the second objective of the portfolio manager. And third objective of the portfolio manager will be optimization of investment earnings consistent with various student objectives. So those are the three pieces around there. Obviously, we've got the acuity coming with your audit as well. We need some additional information from acuity. Otherwise, I think taking a look at the three objectives, it'll be up to the board to determine whether or not setting up an account with new objectives. That, and I think leading into we've got another work session coming up, so it's a 6.2, so I'm kind of going into another one. Is the plan was to use the work sessions to do the unfortunately graduate work. The first meeting will be on September 16th with our task force. Jen's volunteered to be board representative on that. I don't think we'll be anywhere ready to include the board by the 23rd. So the question would be, do we want to further work on board development on the 23rd as part of that work session? To throw that out there. Next step is to start to narrow down the discussion on board development.
The work session with the
So you're proposing, to use the work session on the 23rd to narrow down the things we've highlighted already into actual goals.
Yeah, I think that was something they came through on our self-evaluation, was that we'd like to have one or two things that we come to, and we can say, yes, we did, or no, we didn't. And if we have this earmarked on the calendar, like,
The other input. Jim, when you talk about, you said a minute ago for the 23rd board development, is that different than what we're talking about? Did you have something else in mind that we would do?
On the 23rd. No, I think to do some more work around, local development.
Okay, or the old though.
Yeah.
All right. For some reason, maybe I misheard, I just heard for development, and so when I heard that, I just heard like boarding opportunities for the board, so I wasn't sure if we had something additional that we might do, since we're not going to do the portrait of graduate stuff that day, that's just clarifying.
For now, it'd be to work out the board goal. Yeah.
All right, well, it sounds like, that's what we'll end up doing, is that something we need to vote on, since then let's just work a discussion, so. Yeah, just add it to.
Yeah, so we'll build an agenda for the work session around the board goals. And then I think outside of that, was there other items to take to the work session as well? More information to bring. You and Drew, as far as what it looks like for the work session and what's happening. Sounds good.
All right, that brings us to 6.3, superintendent goals, evaluation process, standards, forms, timelines.
So the forms that we've got were forms that we used last year from COSA, and no changes that everyone's good with that. I'll bring these to the next board meeting for formal approval as well, so feedback to bring we'll do an action item for the next one. On the back of the forms page, what's further in your packet is the timeline piece. And that's probably funky in your computer, so I thought we'd start timelines. Essentially, the day is just an informal discussion around the goals, taking a look at the timeline, bring back a actual action item on the 7th to formally adopt the process. And then December 16th, much like in the last process, I provided a report to you as far as the interim process, as far as the progress making towards the goals. On the 27th of January, evaluation documents will be sent out to the board. On the 3rd, I present self-evaluation of the board, clarifying questions, and then the board will develop single summative evaluation, looks like last year. So we got a couple meetings set up on February to do that, February 3rd, February 20th if needed. And then board will meet on the 3rd to finalize March 3rd, March 17th. We would meet and discuss, clarify some evaluations, any changes that might be needed. And finish the project or process in March for spring break. We go back to the beginning of the exhibit. So these are the actual goals that have come up for this year. So goal number 1, positive and supportive culture. So I can carry over the big pieces of them into this year as well. And then some of these will be repeats that work that we're superintendent and then added some of the new work there. So superintendent will provide a safe, respectful, and welcoming environment that fosters the kind of support, respect, and instill a sense of community among staff, families, and students. Indicators around projects, develop school community document that highlights the equity tool, district mission, and portrait of graduate. Carry out the formation of the district executive community, continue to develop K-12 comprehensive counseling program, development of the volunteer system support, integration of the SHAC community, and then the back to school event for 2025, which we have on August 29th. Goal 2, align instructional system to support student achievement. Superintendent will clearly articulate and support academic expectations with appropriate curriculum that includes content, scope, and sequence. carry out integrated guidance plan to support meeting longitudinal growth targets, including health curriculum adoption, work with the graduates, do that work and utilize the Oregon Data Suite dashboard for DIBELS, grade reports, mathematics data, longitudinal targets to ensure data-driven response to instruction material student supports. Goal 3, safe, secure, modern, and well-maintained facilities. Superintendent will work to provide a school environment for staff, teachers, and students and families that are inviting, accessible, safe, and secure. So carry out our instruction phase plan. This is continue with the library, our CT construction is budgeted, carry out maintenance plans, HVAC, painting, siding, roof, water pumps, irrigation, fencing, gates, security, that's budgeted, and site rehabilitation of our gymnasium. Coordinate turf field replacement, tractor resurfacing project, develop Pleasant School District as the Heart Safe District. Continue regular standard response protocol training for all students and staff in the school. Goal number 4, superintendent will collaborate with district office and administrative staff to recruit, develop, support, and celebrate high quality educators, increase teacher knowledge around content, pedagogy, and cultural relevance to impact student outcomes. Create professional development, provide regular meeting opportunities with the Education Association, both education associations, specific to contract maintenance. And then this year we're in negotiations with the OCA, so we'll negotiate the OCA with people. Goal number 5. Ensure effective district governance. So ensure effective district governance to positive protecting board student relationships. Collaborate with the board to schedule dates, times for OSBA facilitated workshops, training sessions, establish clear understanding of board superintendent protocols. Establish regular meeting times with the board chair and vice chair for reviewing board agendas. Establish superintendent evaluation process, procedures, timelines, and goals. Maintain a regular communication system for the board. Feedback.
Forgive me if this is something we've discussed before. What's a heart safe district?
The Heart Safe, so Oregon Health and Vascular Institute out of Ruby Bend. Part of that, they offer training and then also support like AED devices and then also replacement parts, pads for the AED devices. So what we've got to do is go through a checklist of what we have in place already. And once that is done, then they will actually come out and they will start to help us with training as well. So emergency type of training. Part of that also because we are hooked up with Lane County, so we're getting 911 call first, the Lane County operator. There's an app called Heart Pulse, this is what it's called. So if there is a medical emergency and it goes through the Heart Pulse, then it will go out, it will, if you're signed up for the app, then you'll get notified if you're trained. Pulse point, thank you. If you're trained in that, and you can actually see where it's at, so if you're close enough, you can actually respond to the area situations occurring. Part of that also then is locating all of our AED devices, and so on the app, it will show you the closest AED devices for that particular situation. Yeah, and then they do ongoing training as well. A parent brought it up, Kendra Goldberg Chambers, and so we went and did a tour of the Oregon Health and Vascular Institute. And then on her end, she's working more towards the community piece as far as getting these and training out in particular the other storefronts. So I felt like it was a need just for our rural setting. Obviously, better part of it. I think some of this is around training as well. So Eugene Springfield is trained in, forget the name of the training. Essentially, it's an advanced first aid, advanced CPR. So essentially, they've got the tools and training that if they respond to a heart situation, they can measure pulse ox, determining if the CPR is actually working, better knowledge around the actual tools in keeping somebody alive, which then increases the liability that saves the hospital. They're going to much better recovery. This also fits in with OSAA and safety students. on things.
Okay, thank you.
Thoughts on goals?
Very good. I feel like your first goal, the positive sport, culture, I think that's one thing that just continue to build the culture on all three schools, and one big one. Improving overall is good.
So we started that when we get back to school event, which had some more positive feedback. So we can continue. Yeah, that's good.
Appreciate the outreach goal, the standards that are referenced. And specifically broken down, that's really helpful.
Make it a little easier at the end.
Well, and just throughout the year.
Yeah.
It's nice to have this going into the year. For sure. Any other feedback for Jim?
Very good.
All right. Well, this is something we'll vote on in October, or you said that, or yeah, it's 23rd work session, so next board meeting on October, that's. All right, so we've got some time. We have any additional back to you?
Yeah.
We can toss in our head later. All right. Brings us to 7.0 reports and information. I'll start with the elementary school report. First report. District welcome.
All right, our enrollment as of this report is 426. Today it's 427. We enrolled in kindergarten this morning, so we have 58 kindergartners, 61 first graders, 71 second graders, 8 third graders, 74 fourth graders, and 83 fifth graders. Just a brief overview of our state data that is still embargoed. But I wanted to give you guys an update. Our regular attenders increased 21% from the previous school year, which is awesome. Our language arts increased 7% from the previous year. Mathematics increased 4% from the previous year, and science increased 12% from the previous year. Our building has 3 goals for the year, focusing on building relationships with families, specifically through positive communication. We would like to continue to increase attendance with a specific focus on working on tardies. And then we would like to work on increasing our overall literacy achievement scores and specifically looking at our benchmark data through the DIBELS program. We have our annual job-a-thon coming up on the 27th. We're really excited about this fundraising opportunity. And we've had an awesome start to the school year. It's been amazing having kids back in the building, and we are, so they are well groomed.
All right, any questions for Brian? Thank you. Middle school, good evening, Caleb.
Hello. So our enrollment's currently sitting at 234. We have 85 sixth graders, 78 seventh graders, and 71 eighth graders. That's at 9% this time last year. And looking at our Oregon data from last year, our regular attenders are up 9% from the previous year. When we look at our OSAT scores, our English language arts did decrease by 9%. Our mathematics was up 1% from the previous year. And our science increased by 6% of the year. In terms of our goals, and Chris will get into some of this as well, but really as an administrative team trying to focus on accessibility, availability, and approachability. Looking at tardies and attendance specifically, we are to begin targeting that today, getting in and looking at students or classes rather that have perfect attendance first period and celebrating that. So we're really going to try to make a push at celebrating and targeting attendance, really focusing on what it is we're looking for, not just addressing what's not happening. Sports are off to a great start with 32 students registered for football, 19 for cross country, and 24 for volleyball. Sixth grade outdoor school is coming up just around the corner. We have our informational parent night coming up on September 16th at 6 p.m. We actually began training our high school students to be counselors for outdoor school this evening. We had a great first few days of school. We shout out to Deidre Huff, one of our sixth grade teachers, and our counselor, Jolene Hill, for running our web where every building belongs. In alignment with the integrated guidance plan, really looking at that 5-6 transition, having that, I think everybody really enjoyed having that sixth grade and ninth grade day in our building. But having that day not only for sixth graders to be on campus and go through some activities in the morning, they go through a mini schedule. It's great for the sixth graders, but also that leadership opportunity for the seventh and eighth graders is very valuable as well.
Any questions? Caleb?
Maybe I missed it earlier, but what was the reason for the desire to reduce the number, eliminate backpacks in the classroom?
Safety is probably the biggest thing. When we look at having, it's about having the least amount of regular stuff in the classrooms and students be able to come to class with just the things they need. The biggest.
It's been a while since I was in school, but I do remember packing around a backpack to every class. And had a variety of things in that pack, and it was in the days before computers and so forth. It seems like there's more stuff to pack around now than there was before. I can look around this room and see various backpacks laying around and other devices for packing around kids. I just it just strikes me as strange that there's an expectation for people to pack all this loose stuff around rather than having it in the backpack. But I'm not in the classroom, so I don't know the magnitude of the problem or hazard that they are creating. But just from the outside looking in, it seems a bit odd.
And it was teacher driven. It wasn't my idea to do that. So I think that was one of the things I wanted to make sure that, and I mean, this is great for me to be able to go back and say, hey, tell me more about that. If they wanted that, we were able to set that expectation. One of the things that was important to them was to set the expectation consistently across the board. So kids weren't having a guess between which class. But yeah, it's been an interesting activity, I guess, or live lesson and looking at kids learn to utilize the lockers that we have. We have them for every student, but now we actually have them too. So.
Like in elementary school, there are a lot of elementary classrooms have cubbies for kids, so kids can bring something and put it in the cubby. We don't have cubbies at the middle high school, so things go just on the island from the floor. Classrooms aren't overly big, so 31 desks in the classroom, I mean, 30 kids and then backpacks on the floor. It is just maneuvering around. It really is a kind of safety issue. So being that they all have access to a locker, it's just getting to school, getting in the locker, and then like I said, they don't have their components which are provided in the classroom. So we're just trying to utilize that locker space, get kids to kind of clean up, get in the locker, and then bring as little stuff as possible to the classroom.
Couple thoughts too. I don't necessarily disagree with the decision, but I think anytime we have big changes from one year to another, like this one, or the computers, maybe more than just a couple days notice. I think I saw something about the computers in an email you sent out,
Yeah, I said that.
like a day or two before school, like the day before we checked in or something like that.
I said that now, my parent.
Right. But maybe more notice than that, if possible, for big decisions like that, or the backpack. Was there any thought in giving an extra like minute between classes, if now every student has to go back to their locker between every single class to drop stuff off and get stuff? Whereas before, it was, they just had to go from one room to the other, or vice versa. Was that considered at all?
That was not. In fact, right now, there still isn't an issue with our, like I said, you've been to the hallway.
Sure.
It's a small school.
Right. Good.
I have questions.
Not about backpacks?
I never pretended to understand the attendance stuff. I peeked ahead and I noticed that all 4 areas of the high school were up. And one conspicuous one is down. Did we look at that in the middle school? 10% off from the previous year. And yes, English language arts decreased 9% from the previous year. That's the only one that was down.
Real difficult to get in without, getting deeper in the data, and the data is still in Fargo. But no, also, it could be a bubble as far as students and which students took the test, because 9% is not gonna be a lot of kids for the size that they've got.
So not enough information yet.
Not
No.
enough impression. Yeah, we might, I mean, even if we were. Even within that data set, you're comparing. Last year's English language arts group. To the years before. So it's a different data set as well as far as kids. There'll still be. New sixth graders, same seventh and eighth graders within the English group. And I don't know, that this year's ninth grader may be a higher performing group of students overall. And a lower group of sixth graders, and I'm not guessing, throwing out probably, we may not ever know why we get 9%.
So why are we tracking?
We do track it.
No, I mean, if we don't know, why do we care?
There's philosophical discussions that we have, for sure, yes,
This is the state mandated.
This is the OSAS, yeah.
Yes.
yeah.
And then this is the one where we struggle to get kids to actually do the testing,
Yeah.
right?
The junior.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the state says that we have to provide it, we have to provide parents with the opportunity to opt out of it, and we have a huge amount of parents that opt out, that's right.
You remember that discussion?
I think it's one of those data points that the trend is worth more than the 1 year number, you know, if we. Add this to our chart, you know, if we're consistently dropping 9% every year. Or for 2 or 3 years, we have a problem that needs addressed versus just. Where we up 12 last year and down 9, you know. Trend is more useful, I guess, to me.
This, and I would say this data should be looked at from the system's point of view. So if your systems are working, you should be seeing growth within these numbers. So I think the stuff that we paid attention to in the last year in particular was around regular attenders. You've got kids that are happy coming to school and they're attending regularly. We're naturally, like we talked about last year, with virtually anything that you will have an effect, a change. We talked about the effect size. So having kids, good climate, good culture, kids coming to school, they see natural increases. Same thing in staff, having staff, environment. Are invested in the students.
I have a question about this data. We're seeing, you know, the trending percentage upwards, but it's a percentage of a percentage. If you have, you know, 44% of the students are at above grade level, and all of a sudden that's gone up to 50%. You know, you got a 10% or 9% trending increase. You know, you could have 95% at or above, and it goes to 96, and it looks like, yeah, it's not even a 1% trending increase. So I think the next level down of data is valuable in terms of you see what you might need to focus resources at, because if you've gone from, you know, 95% to 96%, and that's just a small gain, well, you've pretty well covered that field. You're doing well in that, and so this kind of information may be a little bit misleading to look at it, and I don't know what you see and then what you dealt with, you know. You did the math with that to provide this, or if this is what you were provided, and now we're seeing.
It's pretty much,
If you follow what
yeah, it's pretty much just the data, like I said, it's just the state data that comes out and shows what we were, you know, we know what we were last year. We reported that, and this is like a preliminary data for this year. Like Jim said, it's a completely different group of kids, right? So the 40 kids out of 80 that took the test last year are the same. But we're gonna get 40 more kids taking the test.
The regular attendance data, I would point out, because across the state, and this, I think we're a representative of that, because our data was similar on the regular attenders, is after the pandemic, kids and families just weren't coming back to school on a regular basis, and so this is an indicator that the systems and the attention that we're paying to the kids back in the classroom more often, and they're staying for longer periods of time. So there's some positive pieces. Just I think that piece of it. With that, you'll see this also what you brought up, John. Is our because our numbers are so small, we see an increase or a decrease, like you said, 1%, like our fifth year seniors, the completers. I think this year's data would be down, and actually it's going to be 22-23. We can see other piece with the data. Is our 4-year cohort graduation and our fifth year completer is not based off our 23-24 graduates. When we share that data, it's based off our 22-23 graduates, those 2 points. But you'll see they fluctuate down percent, down maybe 1.5%. And it's so small when you're talking about a class of 89 kids. How many kids you may have completing fifth year completed. So really tiny. Small data sets. But again, people go back, these are indicators of how our systems.
Light on the importance of some of the assessments, like the middle state marks. It is this kid compared to this kid, the beginning and the end, and where this is so influx.
Yeah, that's much more of a formative assessment. We make decisions based on how a student is doing within the school and make changes for this. So this is after the race is over. Yeah.
Speaking of the middles, are you guys finding it useful to be doing that in at the middle school level? Is that something that you guys are finding useful? Like we did that last year was the first time we did that. Is that something you guys are doing something to appease the board, or are you guys finding use in that information?
We are so new in that process. As far as it even being like an overall large priority. So in our integrated guidance plan, K-12 literacy was a big part of that, and secondary schools literacy will start to sometimes fall behind in the professional development of what you're doing. But if you remember, we had an EA, and so that EA is helping for some of that. But EA is now left, taking the job back, so we'll have an EA to train, getting staff assimilated and used to taking the data, going through the testing process, getting staff trained in how to look at the data and what sets of students you're going to focus on, whether it's going to be literacy, fluency, comprehension vocabularies and examples, and then getting staff trained on what resources are available to work with kids to increase those areas that need to be increased. I think one of the hurdles is also this is a huge shift for our middle school staff because they've never done it before. They've never really been in a situation or a system unless they were outside of Pleasant and was being done in the school prior to this. They've even seen it at the second grade level. There's a lot of hurdles that are taking place as we build capacity and knowledge with staff. So
it's way too early to tell.
we are basement. Yeah. Yeah.
Got it.
At the same time, do not want something like this to be the thing that drags us down and keeps us from all the great work that we're doing, the positive changes that we make.
Something like what's the OSAS or the middle stuff?
The OSAS, paying attention to culture and climate within the school.
Or you're saying versus like this one data point of 9%.
Yeah, well, no, I'm just saying like, how much focus we may pay attention to on this one piece and getting staff professional development and changing that culture. That's a huge, huge lift. For staff that has been accustomed to the same thing for many years. So the speed in which you do that can have an effect on other initiatives that we have in place. So we can get what we don't. Tip the card over. Right, yeah.
Right? Chris? Good evening.
Good evening. So high school, go down kind of the same as you have 319 students enrolled, in high school. Again, these were the numbers when I turned them in, 78 ninth graders, 84 10th, 79 11th, and 78, seniors. And, so obviously not quite as big as our 91 seniors last year. I think we ended up with 90 overall, and everybody got across the stage last year. So that's our goal this year. It's gonna be a little bit tougher. We have around 10 kind of mathematically, aren't really able to earn the credits unless there's some interventions, some online stuff. So we're working really hard to get those seniors that are credit efficient kind of across the stage, but a little bit more work out for us this year than next year. It'll come around with enough phone call interventions for us. The overall, just kind of the data increase from our regular attenders, 3% from the previous year. Our language arts stayed the same, mathematics 10%, and the science at 13%. With that, I'll kind of get to a little bit around our attendance, but I'll kind of go through some of these things. Caleb alluded to it. Our building goals this year, basically, as far as an administrative team, kind of coming around. I had 3 goals across the school for the administrative team, and it's accessible, available, and approachable. So basically you get a couple of office moves, so we put our assistant principals into the hallways, which they oversee, so Kyle's in the high school hallway. And Mr. Ryan's in his room, Caleb is in the middle school hallway, and Jolene, Phil's office. They're gonna put them directly into the hallway, so therefore they're accessible. So that the people want to hunt them down and find them in an office, they're right there, they can step out, so they're accessible that way, available. We're just trying to make sure that doors are always open. And the big thing is approachability. You don't want to be the kind of person where somebody says you have a minute, you're like, nope, I'm busy, I'm on my way to do this. You just want to be available and approachable by the whole staff. So far, feedback from people is good. So they kind of like having them in the hallway where they have direct access. They can walk across on their passing period and can ask a question right there in real time. Our attendance was nice to see that Brendan's kind of focusing on the same thing, is attendance specifically tardies. We've unleashed those that have high school kids, probably saw the new target policy that we're kind of rolling out. And it's a lot of it is aimed towards the positive incentives. So today we're kind of focusing on like perfect classroom attendance, just kind of a fun things across the high school. So today is first period, we focus on first period. The teacher gets perfect attendance in their classroom. They radio down, we get told, we go marching into the classroom. So we have 4 classrooms, first period with perfect attendance. We go in there, first thing we do is take a team picture, get the whole classroom together, take a picture. Then you remember the old heads and tails game that they play at every event that you've ever been to. So we have a couple sets of beads, we have gift cards from different places, there's some coffee cards, some Blizzard coupons and Subway cards, and we're gonna be getting some more things, but you play the heads and tails game, so the winner gets the gift card, and they get a set of beads. Set of beads are like the big deal, because at the end of each quarter, we're gonna be playing the same heads and tails game, for all the kids that have kind of won those rewards. There's also gonna be beads handed out for perfect quarterly attendance. So there's other ways that they can get the beads, and then that's gonna be for the bigger gift, which is gonna be Howler. So every quarter we figure that out. It's pretty fun. The Mrs. Floods, no, Bonaventures English class, they're mostly upper class, and they told her today, never call the office. When we have perfect attendance, and they didn't like the standing out, and they didn't, but we're still coming, but the goal is to incentivize them to explode positive stuff. We're hitting the parking lots pretty hard. We chase the kids who are parking in the staff parking lot out, so we set that message up pretty clear. Then we're in, as soon as that 819, 820, we are going down the parking lot to make sure kind of those juniors, which is what their focuses are, just kind of hanging out in their car, get to the class whenever they feel like it. So far, there hasn't been kids in their cars. The kids are coming in, and it seems like, I think Caleb and I, and we were talking this morning, just been out there a couple days, right on, the goals around 8:15. I mean, they're kind of picking, I feel like they're picking up. We'll find out if it's just a honeymoon period or if they're gonna stick to it. But it seems like they're getting purposefully into the building a little bit faster. The other thing is, our regular attenders trying to increase that, and so, and then what we're doing is data polls. So basically, the whole premise is everything's 90%, so in a 2 week, like in a 1 week period of time, if you have more than 5 or more targets, at that point, that's when you're gonna get a personal visit, from us. Pulled down the hallway, parents called at that time, we talked about the problem getting class at time, you know, so we'll kind of work with the counselor that way. And the same thing with attendance, it's one, it's basically 7 period absences in 2 week period, we get 90% or, you know, 10 days if there's 2 full weeks, it's 1 full day. Absence makes you can still be a regular attender, but anyway, the 8th absence in 2 weeks or 2 days absent in 2 weeks will kick you underneath that. We're gonna flag those the same way every 2 weeks. We'll hold that data for the previous 2 weeks, and then we're gonna run. So it's kind of rolling, and we'll run that. Same thing. They're gonna get a visit from out in the hallway, talk, call the parent. You know, obviously, first period is big because a lot of the kids, it's 1 in every 4 of our students are boundary waivers or district transfers. That means that, you know, that 1 in every 4 of our students is probably relying on a parent to get them to school until they get their residency. So we'll kind of work on that first period, or you know, and maybe have some interventions with the parents. You will call them up in the morning, wake up, get the kids out. But we're gonna be working on that. That's really important to us. Sports, like in high school, often you know, kind of sports start running before the school year starts. It's been a great start to the year for the volleyball team. It's 5-0, and when we came here, they played 2 sets in a match that they were playing against Cascade Christian. So really, they haven't dropped a set yet. They're 14-0 as far as volleyball sets. They haven't dropped a set. And then Kyle just said that they did beat them 3-0, so it's 15-0. So 15-0, but as far as sets go, that way they're currently playing Cyrus. So if we get out the period, they're just getting ready to start that game back against Cyrus. It's home there. So that's been pretty fun. Our boys soccer team is 2-1. They're kind of the mighty 12. We have 12 kids out for soccer. We had 11 kids out for soccer from Pleasant Hill High School. We happened to accept 2 foreign exchange students. Caspian from Germany, he's a soccer player, so he's out there right now and just got the, what was it, his name, we got a stand who's enrolled in school today, little guy, and he plays soccer as well. So we'll get that soccer team up to 13. It takes 11 to build the team. So now we have a couple subs. We're working that way. Our girls soccer team is 3-0. So they're rolling well pretty good. So it's been a pretty successful start for them. Cross country, we have over 20 kids out for cross country, which is pretty good. And they're getting ready to gear up. This weekend, they're getting ready to gear up for kind of looking forward to see how they're going to do. Football, played Jamboree 2 weeks ago. Friday night, they were down in Sutherland and didn't go well. So we dropped that game to 3-6. So the freshman only day, we ran for the first time in a long time. We had the 6th grade and the 9th grade show up on the first day. I think that was really, really good because the school is pretty empty and they just get a chance to kind of navigate it and see. And it was good. They started off the day with a pep assembly where we got to meet the staff, play some games, and then from there they did a little tour, not a tour, but they did like rotation where they talked, like the front office staff kind of talked about what their role is and what the etiquette is in the front office. And how you go back going to see the nurse or like that, or canceling the career center library was another stop. They got 20 minutes there. They got to hear about what Clarissa does, the counselor, what the functional career person does for them, and what services are available and how they access those. Kyle had a thing just about some activities, what plans are available if you want to go out and get things started to get involved in school that way. And then, of course, I got the administrative talk, the discipline in the school, the do's and the don'ts of being in high school. You know, kind of what goes on in high school hallways versus always. We had talked that way. I mean, so far pretty good. And the first, I guess it's the 4th day of school now. It's been really smooth, so I think that they've kind of adapted well. The high school hallway, it seems pretty calm, the middle school, seems pretty calm as well, but I think as far as bringing that in, that was a good thing, and that will just improve next year. Our leadership class is up and running, we're gonna go speak to them tomorrow, a good meeting today, it's the first time they've had a leadership class, so about 21 kids that are all involved in the leadership of student government, and some at-large people want to do the class, they get 4 periods every day, to plan activities and events around the school, so it's not just an event like every Wednesday for 30 minutes, there's much to actually get the plan set up committees, and kind of make that so the school is better. Because I wholeheartedly, I believe that the quality of experience for a kid increases the quality of education and ability of adults. So if I can make it fun to come, if I can make it sort of activities where the kids feel like they belong, then hopefully that's something to work with. Make it stay. So far, first week, things seem to be going pretty well. Oh, and what Caleb Phil did to me about outdoor school, which is that our school?
For October, the first week of October.
There's one of the administrators going to spend a night each night at outdoor street. So we're all taking a night. So we're kind of have one of us there to kind of help out during those evening hours. So so Mr. McLean, Mr. Solomon, and myself will all be spending the night out there one night. Are you guys going to spend the night?
Pass.
Hard pass or something? If you change your mind.
Thanks.
So,
Maybe next year.
which would be, just get ready for a great year. Yeah, this Friday, I'm making the ride down to Brookings, watch the walking day Brookings. Get there.
Not one on the bus.
Hard.
Any questions for Chris?
I was asked today, whose decision is it or was it to schedule a soccer game on Labor Day? And I had no answer. Apparently the parents are not happy.
We'll get over this. 2 high school soccer coaches. In conjunction with their.
It absolutely wasn't a soccer tournament.
No, I mean, I'm just saying, something has to be done.
I was surprised that was allowed. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. But it's, there's gotta be a good reason.
I'll tell them I don't know still.
Yeah. Scheduling conflicts somewhere down the road, they really want to play one another, yeah.
Maybe it's on conference.
I can only say typically.
Oh, no, that's right, it was essentially 2 other ones, so it was the one conference one. Oh, with Elmira, that's right, it was Elmira that they played. Good. All right, thank you, Chris. Brings us to 7.4 superintendent report.
Good things, just touch base again on this back to school event, hard to get an idea of numbers, because we held it the same night as the meet teachers and the high schools, so we had a lot of people coming and going. And it was hot out, so we had a lot of folks that joined us, but stayed close to the food trucks were extremely busy. We added a food truck to them last year. At our booster club selling apparel, they mentioned that last year, I think they sold 6 memberships, and this year they sold 20, so they were really excited about just the increase in that and having access. Our education foundation was there as well, and a nice little game set up with cornhole, and we're giving prizes out to folks, face painter and destination events with their obstacle courses and slides, were extremely popular with the young kids, and obviously we like being. Had a few of the neighbors that showed up as well, so they can meet a few more people. Pat Neal, I think used to be a board member as well, was showed up and introduced himself, wanted to know what was going on. So it was good to bring in some of the community at large as well. So make sure we want to spend some more time making sure the community was staying. We have got the egg building, which is the old Forester building, complete, had our occupancy, sign off ready, so the kids were in there first day. We were still waiting for some furniture as far as desks to come in. I think those are coming in this spring, so.
Yeah.
So we got some assembly to do there, and just some minor things, getting a whiteboard up, we got screen down, the projector going, otherwise that building is up and going. We said next year, payments, hopefully this month, we can free up some time with our facilities. Guys, do some payment of that, so, Mrs. White's super excited to be out there in her new space. Hope Factory, so last year we had, I think 3 students involved in Hope Factory, so we go to the Garfield area, and they're doing the construction of they call them tiny homes, but they're literally single wide and double wide trailers. So last year they spent getting the factory up and going, got it certified as a factory. Some of the students were able to come back and do some work over the summer and into this year as well. But 3 students started today. And just a reminder with that is they'll go through the entire training process. They can take their Math 85 and their writing course from the Hope Factory with a qualified instructor. Out there, our students will go in the morning, so it's an AM class, Monday through Thursday. They get some tools, a tool belt, they get their OSHA certifications done, so that when they're finished with the program, they can actually go into the apprenticeship type of work. So excited to be sending students out to there again this year. The last thing is the track and turf projects. We've got our prospectus out. You guys should have all received newsletter, which had that prospectus in it. We've had some donations already come through. Small so far, but I think we've got about 1,005 actual cash donations that have come through, and then still $10,000 step up as well. So that's process is just getting something. But the big thing is the back to school that right. So, and then Jen serves them as well. So thank you, Jen. OSBA convention, November 7th through the 9th. Kristen, who came in and did our equity work this last year, she was presenting on that project again, the work that she did to the school boards, and she has asked if anyone was coming. They're asking me to actually check if anybody planning on coming, if you really willing to actually come into her presentation and actually speak and talk about the process. So if you're interested in November 7th to 9th, let me know as soon as possible. And chill. Set up, and then I can, if you're interested as well, I will set you up with Kristen as far as the session and get some feedback.
I'm going, not speaking.
Would you interact as far as the process?
I will go, yeah,
You won't have.
from a chair and yeah.
They are small, breakout sessions. And I would say like, unless it was just a super popular one, there's usually 15 or less. Yeah.
Thanks.
It's far less than what you spoke in front of the staff. Way less.
Yes, I will be in a presentation.
Thank you.
I have an answer.
About the soccer.
I do. Yeah, so basically, yeah, that week was the only week, that both teams didn't have something going on where they wouldn't have to play 3 games. So this week, we only have 1 game, but Elmira has 2 games this week. So they're looking for a week where they have to go through 3 soccer games. That was.
Questions for Jim? Right, board communication 8.1, Elaine OSBA regional meeting, October 15th, 6 to 8 p.m. at Laney at the meeting.
So last year you attended with, there's a new executive director this year, but this is. So OSBA is obviously your guys' representation, COSA does this as well, which is the administrative side of OSBA. Essentially, they talked about their priorities, and this will be a big year because of to funding, big legislative session, so we'll talk about legislative priorities, and I'm sure there'll be an opportunity to gather information from school board members as well, as far as what they see as legislative priorities. This will cover the Lane region on October 15th from 6 to 8 p.m. So we can see if somebody wants to go, and
Oh, okay.
we can take more than one. Be entertaining. They serve dinner. But if you want to go, send me a message.
Any other business? The next work session, as we discussed earlier, September 23rd, 5:30 p.m. Here at the community center, and next board meeting, October 7th, 7 p.m. here at the community center. We are adjourned. Everybody.